thrilled to introduce our next speaker. Our next guest is another industry expert who's going to share his unique experience and insights. I'm pleased to introduce Alexey Sukharev, the Chief Business Development Officer at Metalamp. He's going to talk about maximizing ROI from Web3 events, life hacks for income generation. We encourage everyone to stay engaged, listen closely, and take notes. Ask questions, as Alexey has wealth of knowledge to share. So without further ado, over to you, Alexey.
Thanks for the intro, Nick. Hi there. Glad to see so many people here. By the way, do you hear me and see me well? Please let me know using the comment section in YouTube, using chat. So just a few comments will be enough, I guess.
Hear you.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we've got today pretty tough time frames. So I think I'm gonna speak very fast, but hopefully it will be interesting and useful for you. So today we're talking more and more about decentralization. In many ways, it erases the borders. So we all constantly communicate with other people from Web3 space, from different countries of the world. We speak the same language with them, and we feel that we belong to this ever-growing blockchain tribe. But no matter how our online business develops with online colleagues and partners available from everywhere in the world, anyway, according to our human nature, there is no more effective way to establish a business connection than a live offline meeting, because it's our human chemistry, it's our human nature. That's why, despite the presence of really great online events, such as, for example, this one, right? We still don't forget to periodically go to offline conferences, to attend Web3 offline events, to meet people, learn a lot from new things, and of course, to sell. I think that people who go on business trips for a conference in another country just to listen to others, just to get some new knowledges, they are no more than 5%. The remaining 95% are the people who go to sell. Someone goes to sell an idea in search of partners and investors, right? Some others, they go to sell services of their company and search for the customer. Some others, they sell their personal competences as an applicant or consultant, for example. And some are selling the image of success and progressiveness of their company. But anyway, it's your show that you are selling on. So how exactly, in what role, being a speaker or just standing with a booth or having maybe 15 or even 20 meetings per day with other guests of the conference, these are already the details, but the essence is the same. You do sell. So despite all the digitalization, decentralization, and it would seem a complete shift to online, we still strive for some kind of meeting centralization. So we go to offline events, and we want to have as many effective personal meetings as possible. And for this, we go for international Web3 offline events as well. By the way, we please, the second slide, please. By the way, we checked some marketing researches, and we found out that according to Markletic research, 57% of all respondents, they prefer offline events. May I please ask the organizers to switch to second slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So there are really some researches, some marketing researches made, and we see that 57% of respondents prefer offline events. Of course, taking into account the fact that the entire cycle of work with a specific event actually takes 8 or even 10 times more on average than the physical 2 or 3 days of the conference itself. We incur large energy and time costs. So each of us professionals knows how much our time is worth, right? And how important it is to pay back, to recoup, especially when we put so much effort into something, for example, into visiting Web3 event. Plus, no one has yet canceled such boring and unpleasant things as visas, buying tickets, hotel reservations, and some additional expenses, in addition to the main expense item, the cost of your time. So the next slide, please. So today we'll talk a bit about how to increase the chance that your next business trip will not only bring you pleasure, but also pay for itself by providing increased ROI and revenue from each new connection. And of course, after my speech, I'll be happy to answer all your questions. So I guess there will be no rocket science here in my speech. I will just share with you something that I used myself and what helped me achieve $1 million revenue per year in the field of custom blockchain development. So I'm sure that many of you here have pretty extensive experience in business and sales, right? So and that's why what I will share is by no means instructions, not advice for sure. These are just only things from my experience in which I hope you're gonna find something useful. You can onboard if you wish. Yeah, so let me briefly introduce myself. And by the way, while I'm talking about myself, please just write briefly in comment section in the chat, write how many conferences have you attended, and did you attend the conferences? How many of them was there within a year, let's say? Just curious and very interesting. So just a few words about myself. I'm Alexey Sukharev. I'm CBDO of blockchain development studio Metalamp. I've got 18 years personal experience in sales. The funny thing is that I'm 36 years old, so I can say that I can say directly that half of my life I've been doing some sales. So it was some sales experience in B2B businesses, and then I had my own consulting business and a few startups where I was a founder and co-founder. So being in Web3 space, since June last year, I attended a few international conferences and events in Istanbul, in Paris, in Amsterdam, in Berlin, in Lisbon. Yeah, so and I'm gonna talk about my experience from there. By the way, you got to know me a bit, and I'll be glad to get to know you too. So while I'm giving you many words here, please give me a few words in comment section. It would be highly appreciated, because it's really interesting for me to know the audience and to get a bit closer to you guys. So talking about the events that I attended, those were events of absolutely different formats. But it seems that I managed to identify some common patterns and some common stuff, and found the way to make those completely different trips effective. Yeah. By the way, we can switch to another slide. I'm gonna show you some funny thing as an example how to make your business trip effective. Just a second. Okay. So that's on this slide, you can see, if you see some experience of my here, you can see some of my experience of from my business trip to Paris. It was pretty funny situation when I was attending the conference, the Ethereum week in Paris last year. I was just absolutely tired and exhausted walking in the center of Paris along the Seine, and I came close to Notre Dame de Paris square, and I saw the street musician playing the guitar, and I just suddenly started singing along, and we had some chat and a bit talk, and he asked if I play guitar and sing. So I said yeah, and he asked me to sing some songs. And I was singing my son's favorite song from Ozzy Osbourne. It's called Dreamer. And suddenly I saw the people putting some points in the head of this guy. So that's how you can recoup. You can cover part of your expenses while being on a business trip, I guess. So okay, so getting back to our talk, I think. Enough introduction words. Let's go a bit deeper in the topic. So we can switch to the next slide. And first of all, let's talk briefly about the common mistakes that I've seen. I wanted to share it with you guys. Common mistakes in terms of preparation and action during the conferences. So the first is lack of preparation, because some of the people, they think, I'm an experienced attender of events, I'm doing that for many years, I'll do everything at the venue. But you know, to be honest, on my personal experience, I can say that at least 80% effectiveness goes away with such approach, because of course the preparation is very important, and we'll talk a bit about this a bit later. Long and boring scripts, for example, when you try to have the interest from the first touch, from the audience, from other attendees, and you are writing huge messages to them. You know that, of course, we understand that nobody's going to read the huge and overselling messages. And random encounters with how do you approach. For example, when you come to the conference, the most effective way to have a meeting is to have a scheduled meeting, right? Not just a random. And starting to sell and to brag at first meeting, usually it doesn't lead to success, because the venue, the conference, is not the place where the contract is signed, is not the place where you get funded. So those times, they are back in 2021, right? But not now for sure. And long meetings exhausting the person, and of course not solidifying a contact with a selfie and chat. Or when you talk to person, for example, you've got too many contacts, and the contact might just get lost. So, and making lazy and weak follow-ups, of course, as you know, I see sometimes that BDMs, they are not very active after the as they say, after the show, right? So they prepare, for example, they are active at the event itself, but for example, if they don't use active follow-ups after, so all the work can be done in vain. As you know, as Jack Nicholson said in famous movie called Departed, you gotta take everything yourself. So nobody's gonna write you, nobody's gonna call you after. So that's the thing. If you sell, that means automatically that you are doing this thing and you are making the follow-ups. And yeah, we can go to the next slide, I guess. So I'm not gonna talk more on conference attendance formats. I think many of you have seen different ones. So the thing is that event attendance formats, they may differ depending on the purpose, on your style, on the scale of the event itself. And I think it would be pretty stupid from my side to say that one format can be something better than another. Of course not, because we are too different, right? But in any case, what we are going to talk about here, it should be relevant for any of those formats, because each of them involves what? Involves personal meetings. So you can go to conference as a guest. You can go to conference as exhibitor with your own booth. As a speaker, as a sponsor, for example, you can focus on side events, which usually take place around the main venue. And you can choose tactics. I sit on the couch at the hotel lobby, and without going to the main venue, and everybody jumps to the couch and talks to me. So, and you can use mixed formats, of course, as being, for example, the speaker, or invite one of the speakers from your partner's network or your colleagues, and simultaneously to do some active sales work. And or you can just organize as well some roadshow. But anyway, it's up to you. I think that the things that we will be discussing, they are relevant for all of those cases. For me personally, I prefer guest and a speaker plus meetings formats, because I would say that it's pretty understandable and common to me. So it's pretty close to me, to my experience. Okay, so we can jump to the next slide. So actually, there are three main vectors. First of all is preparation. Secondly, of course, it's action when you are in already, when you are attending the event itself. And thirdly, follow-ups after. So now we're going to talk a bit about preparation. So some people say that the proper preparation is already 50% of success of your business trip. Well, to be honest, I don't think it's true, because each stage, preparation, action, follow-ups, is equally important as the other stages. So I guess that it's not about 50%, but it's rather about 33% of success for sure. But still, the preparation is crucial, obviously. So what are the most important things to me to remember in terms of preparation? First of all, I understand that I need to get properly prepared. And the step number one is to learn as much information as possible, to study all the resources about this event, to read and to talk with the organizers team, to understand the audience, to listen and to hear, to see the comments of the guests of previous years' conferences. And of one more thing I would like to share to you, as I've seen, because I've been to different conferences, and there's one pattern that I saw. That if the conference has internal application, like internal app for networking for every guest, where you can tag some people, filter out those people by using tags, or you can get in touch with them. You can even schedule up the meetings, and you can book them in the calendar in this app. I would say that it's much more efficient than when, for example, the organizers doesn't do anything like that, and they only have big crazy chat with hundreds or even thousands of members, and you never know where's the like sudden scam and where's the real guest of the event, the real visitor. You never know, because, for example, the access is free. So yeah, for example, I always check when I get ready for the conference, and if I see that there is an internal app for visitors, for guests, that means that most probably this event will be considered by our company. And also, you should also, I think, take into consideration, at least I do, in terms of side events, because around the main venue there are so many interesting events, but we'll talk a bit later about that. So, and also a very important thing is to ask not about the venue, about the conference. If you ask not only organizers, but as well some guys that you trust from your partner network. For example, while getting prepared for this speech, just let's say some hours ago, I got the answer from my recent partner, Eugene Romanenko, whom I know for years. Because I'm now planning to go for some new conferences this summer, and I've got some kind of short list. And I asked him if he can give me any advices, if he knows the organizers and the speakers, and he can advise some things in terms of those exact names of the conferences. And I've got, I would say, full list of contacts with feedback, where to go, where not to go, or at least recommendation which person to talk to. So the funny thing is that, as you see, it works. It works every day. So just literally when I was preparing this speech, I got very good feedback. So I'm using all these things constantly, even now. Also, of course, you should understand the goal of your trip and your target audience. Of course, you should, for example, which is also very important, is to prepare for the short pitch, which answers the question: what am I doing, or what is my company doing? What is my unique selling proposition? What are my, let's say, key features? How can my company help to those who I'm going to meet? So, but it should be very brief. Of course, we do understand that it shouldn't be so long. And also, must-have thing in terms of preparation is assistant. So I truly believe that it really helps a lot. I cannot even imagine the good proper preparation without assistant. So, for example, you can have assistant. It might be your colleague, it might be your partner, it might be your outsourcing assistant, for example. But the presence of assistant when you go to a business trip is must-have feature. We will talk about more on that a bit later. Also, of course, when we prepare the scripts, the text should be very short, but the thing is that you should filter out the people who might be the most interesting for you, who do look like your target auditory. And after that, after the first script standing, you're gonna do some follow-ups, and just confirming the meetings and building up the schedule. And also, which is also very important thing, as you may see here, I'm now wearing the T-shirt of rock band Kiss. I'm gonna say from my experience that this thing, I was wearing this thing on maybe 3 or 4 conferences, and few contracts that the company had after. It was partly because of this T-shirt, because when you are the sole guy in the whole venue who is wearing something unusual, the people they become a bit more open. They become a bit more open, and they become a bit more smiley. For example, one of my partners with whom I communicate and sharing some leads and knowledges and information, we have very good contact. He's a Brazilian guy. I met him in Istanbul. Do you know how we met him? I went to some side event in the evening, and I was wearing exactly this T-shirt. And he was just drinking beer at the bar, talking to some guys, and he said, "Oh man!" He looked at me and he said, "Oh man, you are listening to rock music as well," and started to sing, "I was made for loving you, baby," and so on. You know, the famous song of this famous rock band Kiss. So that's how we started, literally, and it really works. So it doesn't mean, of course, that you should wear some merch of rock stars, but the thing is that when you look in a bit unusual way, it does work, and it does give you some more chances to establish good connections. That should start from smile, I guess, not from very serious business talk. That's only my opinion again. So of course there are some other good advices, but I think we don't have time for all of them. Because of course this presentation will be shared with all of you guys here. So I think we can switch to another to the next slide. Yeah. So well, I guess talking about the action when you are already in, when you already have come to the venue, to the conference. I think this is just that's how pure hell looks in the eyes of introverts. Because it's absolutely, sometimes that means absolutely crazy, very tough skill. And here I'm going to talk a bit. I'm going to give you some points from my experience on how what things might lead myself for effectiveness during the trip. So after each encounter, so at the preparation stage, we already talked that we've got a schedule of meetings, and that's the best things. So usually, for example, when I go to conference, I have from 10 to 20 meetings per day during official part, and there's also a networking part. We're gonna talk a bit later about. So after each encounter, I constantly make selfie, and of course, I establish the contact in, for example, Telegram with the person I met, and I'm sending my this selfie, and I'm sending my name and the name of the company, the link for the company. So, and also, do you remember we talked about the assistant? So straight after the meeting, because I have only like maybe a few meetings before I meet the new person, and after that the new person, and etc. So I have just a few minutes break, and all I can do is send this selfie and create audio message for my assistant, talking the most important points about the guy whom I met just 5 minutes ago. So I'm just giving the audio information, sending the selfie, and my assistant is putting this information into the table. And as you understand, by the end of the conference, I will have the table with many contacts, with photos, with information taken from my audio messages, and something like that. So, and of course, besides official part of the event, there are some random meetings sometimes, and it could work. It could work, but I would say that it's a kind of separate the whole separate topic. So if any of you needs any support, any advice from my side in terms of random meetings, how to act effectively to turn them into some contracts and some revenue, please let me know. You've got my contacts on first and second slide of this presentation. Please feel free to answer. I'm going to be happy to assist. So also what I wouldn't do is just I don't sell. You know, when I meet the person for the first time, I don't sell. I respect the time of interlocutor, of the guy whom I'm talking with. And usually I'm saying it's your show today. It's not my show. So let's just exchange the contacts and catch up within maybe 1 or 2 weeks after the event. So as I understand, you know, and as I feel, so the thing is that all you need to sell is just an interest for you and for your product and planned call. So that's all. Don't try to sell your company. Don't try to sell your ideas. You don't get funded. You know, you don't sign the contracts at the event. As I said a few years ago, this time has passed already. So when it comes to your short presentation, when you're talking about your product and your company, for example, I prefer focusing not on some technical things, not about stack or technical advantages, but on the problem of my of the person whom I'm talking with, on his task, his business task. Because, for example, our company Metalamp is about development, right? But when I meet the founder of startup on early stage, for example, instead of telling him how many developers we have, or which stack we have, I prefer talking like this. So just very briefly, we help Web3 startups on early stages to structure and to strengthen their idea. We help them create a technical description for building an MVP, and very fast checking the business hypothesis by creating an MVP to understand the further steps. So that's all. I won't sell anything to him. I won't talk more about that. And I would prefer to maybe to have a walk with him to see some Parisian streets and beautiful places of Lisbon, for example, rather than to talk about business there. But after, in 1 or 2 weeks, when I have a call with him, of course, I'm going to be glad to get him get him deeper in on how we can help. So that's the thing. This is only my approach, of course, but I'm just sharing with you guys. I hope it's gonna be it might be useful for some of you, because as we mentioned before, every one of us attended the conferences. Most of us, I would say like this. Most of us, we sell something. Yeah, so we are searching for some people, and the idea, I guess, is just actually common. And it's not necessary to talk only about business issues. You can talk about some other stuff. And it's very important to go not only to main part to the main part of events, to the main venue, but usually there are some side events even at night. And what's most important, yeah, at this slide you see my face, actually approximately my face, when I first visited the conference, and I took a look into the whole program. Besides the main part, I was just literally shocked, because some parties and some restaurants, some karaoke clubs, or some venues, they are working 24 hours, and some meetups are organized literally in the night. So I'm pretty sure that some of you have got this experience, and you should be ready for that, because I would say that even at least 50% of the effective contacts, you are not making with the wearing tie and looking very formal at the formal part of the event. But you may be just you may gather some good connections, so drinking beer at the bar, for example. Why not? It works as well. So be ready for that, guys. And yeah, I think I should hurry up a bit. By the way, if you are interested in having the list of top Web3 international events of this year, I'm actually now looking at this list, getting prepared for my summer trips. So I would be happy to share. Just let me know. Again, you've got my contact. You've got the QR on the first and last slide. So please let me know. Okay. So we can switch to the next slide, I guess. So when you understand that the party is over, as they say, so after the event, It's really needed. For example, if you had this crazy schedule of which I'm talking now, let's say 15, 20 meetings per day and night events and so on, of course, you definitely need at least 1, 2, or 3 days just to recover after that. But it would be cool if you recover not alone, but with establish some kind of group of people who you met recently, maybe yesterday, maybe a few days ago, and you just propose them to have a good walk and sightseeing and stuff like that. And also, of course, making follow-ups is also very very important. But you should understand the time. For example, when the conference is over, I never send follow-ups in a few days. Minimum 1 week should pass. Minimum 1 week, and maximum 2 weeks. So it should be somewhere in between 1 week and 2 weeks. That's when it works the most in the most effective way, I guess. Again, I'm just sharing my experience. Maybe some of you guys might say something different, but I saw that after 2 weeks, it's not that warm already. But before 1 week, the person would not be ready because he's got his own funnel of contacts, and he should dedicate some time for that as well. So yeah, well, I think I will not be describing each of those lines. So you can use this presentation, you can look through it, and as I said before, you always can count on my help. I'm going to ask you to switch on the next slide, and I think I'm going to finish up within a few minutes. So let me just give you a few words about my company very briefly. The company is called Metalamp, and we are international company. We've been operating as a service company for 9 years. We've got more than 60 employees, and 40 of them are developers. We help not startups, Web3 startups, but we help for the existing traditional things that are going Web3 for the first time. We're helping with front, with back, with blockchain development for businesses on different stages. So I've got very brief and very clear proposal for all attendees here. So thank you very much once again for listening to me here. And if you guys have your business and have any tasks related to development, for all visitors of this webinar, there's a free review of smart contract from our side, and free consultation in terms of development within your project. So just let me know, you've got my contacts. So in the very end, I will afford myself only one small recommendation. When you meet people and communicate with them at events, be maximum sincere and natural. So after all, by default, we all in Web3 space, we have a desire for transparency and simplicity, right? Don't be afraid to show that you don't understand something. Ask again, smile, joke, discuss, not only work issues, by the way. Enjoy the communication at events, because any business is done by us, by real people, right? And we all need positive emotions. So share them with each others. And it's really easy because there are many inspiring, smart, and interesting people in Web3 space, right? We all know that. So, and when they meet, it's a great opportunity for monetization. So let's take it. So thank you guys for attention and your involvement. We've had pretty good time here. I look forward to staying in touch. So, and please, if you've got any questions, maybe I'm going to have a few minutes to answer.
Yep, that was a very informative presentation, Alexey. Your insights into maximizing ROI from Web3 events have certainly provided us with new perspectives to consider. I'm sure everyone here today can't wait to put those life hacks into practice at their next meetups and conferences. For instance, wearing some unusual looks at conferences could make them more fun and positive. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. And yeah, it seems we have no questions right now, but